Hold the line, guys. Hold the door. Hold the door. It's finally draft week. We're here. We're wearing last year's draft hat. Yes, this is last year's draft hat. I always like to wear my hat backwards when I'm inside. You guys have noticed that by now, but it's draft week. You feeling refreshed, revitalized after Easter? Is it time to get down to the nitty-gritty, time to get down to business? Yes, I'm holding my hands like a maniacal scientist, psycho, whatever you want to call me. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. And yes, I've seen the news out there this morning from Adam Schefter that multiple sources within the Bears are praying. They are praying that Ashton Genty falls to them at 10. I do have a source. I hadn't used them. I can never use them yet, but they told me less than a month ago they hoped that a prime player, alluding to Ashton Genty, would fall to 10 so they could use them for trade value, to trade down, that the Bears' hope was to trade down. I'm trying to reconnect right now on that little phone right there. No, that wasn't them. My phone just buzzed if you heard it. To see what the update is, they're not responding. I doubt I'll get a response before draft season, before the draft begins, but we're going to hold firm. We're going to hold firm. Is it possible the Bears draft Ashton Genty? 100%. 100% possible. Do I think it's the Bears' plan? Not necessarily. Remember, it wasn't long ago this offseason that Ryan Poles made his statement at the Combine that if they could trade down and add a couple extra picks, it would be worth doing so. I'm holding the line here. So today, we're going to go off a couple mock drafts, just like last time. I'm going to do my own this time, too, to include with your guys's, but we'll have you guys vote on them again. Last time, Mikey had the most popular one. I'll show that in just a minute. The concept of this one is the one I would like the Bears to take. Do I have any inside information on this, that they'll do it, that this is what the path? No, none whatsoever. I just know offensive tackle is becoming more and more popular, and Ashton Genty is probably gone by 5-6-ish range. He's probably off the board, period. So if he's not there, even if you're saying the Bears love him, if he's not there, offensive tackles are becoming increasingly popular. The Bears have been looking at tackle options in the second, third, fourth round. You have to read the tea leaves of these pre-draft process. I don't think they're really heavy on offensive tackle in the first round. They've also talked very highly about Braxton Jones. So if these tackles become popular, all of a sudden teams like the Niners and the Dolphins and Seahawks and Texans and Chiefs and all these guys want to trade up for one. Well, that's an ideal scenario for the Bears with the Dolphins to jump ahead of the Niners. This one actually fits. So we're going to run with this one today. And I asked you guys to send me some trade proposals, and I got a ton of them. So I'm only going to include 4 of them here. But using the picks 113, 239, 241, 372, 398, and 116 acquired from the Dolphins. No, you're not getting a second rounder, not really getting a true third rounder either. This is a comp pick in the third round. But it builds value for the Bears, and it also fits with what the Dolphins have. So these are the Dolphins picks. They have 10 picks in this draft. So giving up 2 picks to move up and get the guy they need, that they want, logically makes sense. So on this last week's episode, you guys saw me and Carl give our ideal scenario 1 week before the draft. I also put in mind a caveat, trade down. So for trading down, here's my new draft week. As we kick off the draft week this week, here's my draft week wish list. All right, so on the left side there, I know a lot of you guys don't love Cam Skattebo like I do. I just think he's a perfect fit for the Bears. So we're going to take Kenneth Grant with 113 after trading down. Nick Emenwari is someone I'm in love with. I don't know if the Bears are, but he fits so many versatile roles on that defense. He could help fill in at linebacker. He can be a strong safety. He could be nickel if needing to fill in there. He can even go out wide to the corner with his speed and athletic abilities. I love Nick Emenwari. I would just love to see him on this defense, so I've taken him. Ariante Ursary is someone I fell in love with earlier. I just think his versatility at guard and tackle would be very valuable. A lot of people say the same thing about other top prospects as well. So I understand the appeal of other guys too. But Ariante Ursary is my favorite there in the second round to fill in that offensive lineman role that we need. Taking Cam Skattebo at 372, I think this is the right range, second, third range, take a running back. And if some of these other guys fall into our lap at 39 and 41 that we can't pass up on, like Emenwari, who many see as the top of the first round pick, Ursary, who many see as a late first round pick, then you got to wait for your running back. And I think Skattebo is a great option, very comparable to David Montgomery, to Josh Jacobs. Would be a really good fit for this offense to pair up. I'm looking for someone to team up with DeAndre Swift. I'm not completely giving up on DeAndre Swift. I'm not out on him. I also think this could be the last year, so you need to replace him, but you might want to do that next year with someone like Jeremiah Love, someone in next year's draft, and get Skattebo to be the 1-2 punch, the David Montgomery to your Jahmyr Gibbs type of player. Jordan Birch at 398. If he fell there, I'd be extremely elated to pick up my defensive end at the end of the third round in the comp pick range. And Holland Pierce, monster of a human being who we've talked about on this program several times. Holland Pierce, if you pick up Jordan Birch and Holland Pierce by trading down from 10 to 13, is that not worth it? This is what I'm talking about, generating that kind of value. That's what I would love to see the Bears do on draft day. Are they going to trade down? This is my wish list. I don't know. I don't know at this point. I kind of think if you're asking the truth, I think they'll take the best player available, but it all depends on how the draft board falls. If it falls like this and a team wants to reach up and get a tackle, how could you pass up on 398 and 4116 to trade down 3 spots to pick up 2 extra picks that could be Jordan Birch and Holland Pierce? Nothing really changes from the end of my draft. 5-148, Terrence Ferguson. I think it's the right range to take a tight end too. I don't think we need to reach in the second or third or fourth round to pick a tight end. We'll see what the Bears end up doing. They did bring in several prospects, and Terrence Ferguson could go in the third, fourth range, but in my mock draft with PFF, he ended up falling. Jackson Woodard, I don't think he'll last this long either, but you guys know I love him at linebacker. And Evan Chisholm III from Eastern Washington could be this year's Puka Nacua, same school as well. So fills all of our needs. I absolutely love this draft. So there's my draft day wish list going into draft week. But now let's do the same thing as last time. Let's bring me off of here. Boop. Get me out of here. Let's bring this up. That's from last time. Which mock draft did you guys like last time? And here was Mikey's. Mikey won. You see, he got 53%. This is 8 days ago. So a little over a week ago, we did the last one. Which one did you guys like the most from the April 12th episode? Fan-led mock drafts. Mikey won the most with trading down, getting Kenny Grant, Omarion Hampton, Landon Jackson. How could you not like this? I mean, already, this is freaking home run. Stellar. Way to go, Mikey. Landon Jackson, Xavier Watts, Ozzie Trapillo, Dylan Fairchild, Luke Lachey, and I put K, my bad there, and Nick Nash from San Jose State. So let's bring up some new ones. Get me out of here. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. And you can see already that it's going to be, get that one back, my bad. We're struggling here, guys. We're going to be Husker fan, Dan, Steven, and James are going to be your mock drafts today. So here's our needs to fill out one more time. RB 1 or 2, linebacker, tight end 2, offensive tackle, left guard, safety, wide receiver, cornerback, nose tackle, and defensive end. And remember, these were all under the premise of using the same guidelines. What I posted on there was for you guys to use the same guidelines of trading down from 10 to 13 and those 2 additional picks. So those are the guidelines everyone had to use. Here's Husker fans. He picked up Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State, which is very possible. Travion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State. Jonah Savania, offensive lineman, Arizona. Same type of thing. I like Jonah Savania for that same reason I like Ariante Urshri. They could kick out to tackle, but they would be more equipped, better at guard, in my opinion. Alfred Collins is the only defensive tackle I like later on if we don't get one of the main 3 in the first round, so I like this a lot. Ozzie Trapillo, who we know the Bears brought in for a top 30 visit. Demetrius Knight. Chimere Dyke, wide receiver out of Florida, who I haven't talked about at all on this program. Malik Verdon, safety out of Iowa State, and Jake Majors, center out of Texas. If you can pick Jake Majors at 7'2", man, I'm all in on that. All right, next one we're going to go to is Dan. Dan posted Kenneth Grant at 113, so you've already won me over, Dan. Nick Scourton at 239. I think this is ideal if it fits. Cam Scattaboo, 241. A lot of people might say that's a reach, but if you see, he got Ariante Urshri at 372. So even if you switch those two, Urshri at 41 and Scattaboo at 72, I still like the bases here. Harold Fanning at 398 if he's there, awesome. RJ Mickens, safety out of Clemson. Good pick there. We haven't talked about him a lot either. Seth McLaughlin, center out of Ohio State. Jared Harrison Hunt, defensive tackle out of SMU. And Kanata Mumpfield, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. So both of these, including some guys I haven't brought up or brought along on the program a lot. So I like when you guys are doing these. It brings out some other players that I haven't been sold on or that I'm not like overhyped on, because I always give you the guys that I've obviously researched and the guys that I love. And I've looked at all these guys. I'm just not as high on them. Like Malik Verdon, safety out of Iowa State. I'm not as high on him, but I understand the appeal of why some people would be. Or Jared Harrison Hunt, defensive tackle out of SMU. To me, I think we need more of a nose tackle type of player, and he would be a 3 tech behind Jervon Dexter developing, but doesn't mean that's the wrong type of pick, and I can see the appeal there as well. So next we'll go to Stevens. Stevens pick, he has Jihad Campbell, and I can understand wanting to replace, but taking linebacker in the first round is kind of confusing to me. But if you're going to build the defense the right way, and say this is just for example, say this is Roquan Smith. Say you're getting a Roquan Smith at 113. Do you pass that up? So Jihad Campbell at 13, I can understand the appeal, and I can see why a lot of people would agree with this one. Then we're filling defensive tackle Derek Harmon, one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles in the draft at 239. Travion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State at 41. Andrew Makuba, Texas at 372. Harold Fannin Jr., same range as the last one, 398. Kyle Williams out of Wazoo, 116. 148. Seth McLaughlin. So a couple of similar picks here. 398 and 148 are the same for both Dan and Steven. Then Za Frazier, cornerback out of Texas San Antonio, UTSA, 233. And then Jalen Travis, offensive tackle out of Iowa State, who I really like that pick a lot. If you snagged him at 240, that's an absolute steal. Last but not least, James also had Kenneth Grant out at 113. Donovan Jackson, 239. Nick Amanwori, 241. So you're speaking my language here, buddy. 372, you got Ozzie Trapillo, so the second one to do that. Jordan Birch at 398, which is what I proposed as well. Man, if you can get him at 398, that's a steal. Tez Johnson falling to 116, and it's interesting. You haven't heard much about him in this pre-draft process since his time was a little slow on the 40s, so he could definitely fall to the 4th round. Mitchell Evans, 148. Kobe King, linebacker out of Penn State, who I like a lot. I don't think he'd last the 7th round, but who knows with all of these. Ollie Gordon at 240. So all of these are solid. There's a lot of you guys who put Kenneth Grant. I think a lot of you guys agree with me on this channel. So here's a couple more. I'm not including, I only picked a couple with Kenneth Grant. I didn't want to go too crazy, but you can see Dwayne Martinovich had Kenneth Grant, Connerly, Landon Jackson, Cam Scatterby, Ty Felton, CJ West, Jalen Reed, Luke Lachey, and Sean Dolick. I actually really like that draft a lot. Kenneth Grant, Nick Amanwori, Landon Jackson, Cam Scatterby, Ozzie Trapillo, Terrence Ferguson, Ollie Gordon, Ricky White, and Mello Dotson for Canadian Shy Guy. I like this draft a lot. Grizzly Gator, Kenneth Grant, Nick Amanwori, Travion Henderson, Darian Porter, Josiah Stewart, Emory Jones, Seth McLaughlin, Teddy Buchanan. There's several others. So I just wanted to include a couple more with Kenneth Grant, but I didn't want to have, for the main 4 here that you guys are going to vote on, I didn't want to have too many with Kenneth Grant. So we got 2 with Kenneth Grant. You guys have fallen in love with him just like I have. Are the Bears going to go with Kenny Grant on draft night? Probably not, but he's the one prospect every year. There's always one every year that I fall in love with, and this is that one this year. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you being a part of this. Mock drafts are fun. We're almost done, though. We're almost here, guys. Do I think this will happen on draft night? I think there's a decent chance if the board falls the right way. I think it's a better chance of this happening than drafting Ashton Genty or even Tyler Warren or even Jalen Walker. Man, I would love any of those guys to fall. I will have my top 10 player rankings that I want the Bears at 10 very soon. You guys have asked for some specific things. We're 3 days away from the draft, so we're almost there. So I will have a couple things this week, and then we're going live for the draft. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. So with that, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for being a part of it, and bear down.